welcome to our weekly FireStride. Today we have our fearless leader, Riley, joining us. What's up, Riley? Thanks for being here. And we've got a couple, key discussion topics that I know that you are all curious about, ranging from the liquid staking module, the airdrop, even the Stride anniversary that we've been celebrating a bit internally, just through our discussions and things we're remembering over the last year of being live. So yeah, a lot to share. Anything as well, Riley, that you think that I missed on our agenda, feel free to drop it in there. I'll be taking notes while you share. And then at the end, I've got a few community updates that I'd love to go through with you guys. So yeah, I'll pass the mic to Riley now.
Thanks, Summer. So a few updates, and then we'll leave a lot of time for Q&A. So September 4th was, as Summer mentioned, the 1-year anniversary of Stride Network. I think it launched September 4th, 2022, which was a hectic week. So I was thinking back about that over the past 7 days. The main contributors were up for 4 or 5 days straight, helping launch the network. Anyway, we've come a very long way since then. From one single liquid stakes token, Atom, to over 10 now. Decent amount of market share within Cosmos. Airdrops to over 10 chains now, I believe. Stride upgraded 14 times over the course of the last year, which might be a Cosmos record. A lot of upgrades. Ton of features. If you check out the 2023 roadmap and browse through what was planned at the beginning of the year, most of it has shipped, and contributors are starting to look at some of the farther out features, like research related features. And a lot of the contributor teams have grown, and I think we all had a lot of fun along the way. So I look back very fondly on the last year, and I think the following 12 months are going to be potentially even more exciting, with the liquid staking module and the barriers to entry in Cosmos becoming much lower, and hopefully a turnaround in the overall market. So I'll pause there. Just some reminiscing and some thoughts about how we've gotten so far over the last 12 years. And it goes without saying, but it wouldn't be possible without everyone who's in this call and everyone who's in the community who's been supporting Stride since day one. So thank you for your contributions, folks who are liquid staking, folks who are contributing to the community, folks who are helping spread the message on Twitter and word of mouth, and any other contribution. It really makes a huge difference to the protocol and to the mission, which is unlocking liquidity in Cosmos and making Cosmos DeFi feasible. I think we've come a long way.
Yeah, thanks for that overview, Riley. I feel like that is a really exciting I think milestones are really like exciting ways of kind of remembering the accomplishments that we've and the challenges that we've, faced as a team. And just like think you guys have done a really excellent job of making sure that the Stride project is constantly growing and constantly turning into newer, more exciting versions of itself. And I think that doesn't come without putting out a bunch of fires on the way. So yeah, you guys absolutely killed it. And yeah, our community obviously carries the project afloat. So I really appreciate the community for that too. I'm going to point our attention to the chat just for a second. So I see it popping off for a moment. Oh, we should have a Medium article of achievements, challenges, and future. Make a video as well, but wasn't educated on Stride's early days. I think that's an awesome idea of kind of creating an article that tells the story of Stride and some future hopes and intentions. So that is, I love that suggestion. And then I see another question. What are the biggest risks of liquid staking module to Atom and to STRD at macro level and also at the micro level? So when we start talking liquid staking module, I'll save this question and we can answer it a little bit more in context for that discussion.
Looks like a lot of questions about the LSM. We can hit those in a moment. The other big update today, and you may have seen this on Twitter already, it's a surprise release of 3 of the Stride airdrops. So Comdex, SOM, and UMI. SOM's airdrop, I think, has had the fastest turnaround time. Usually Stride has a many-month lag between the launch of an airdrop and the launch of a chain and the launch of the corresponding airdrop. But this one came just a few weeks later. So very excited about that. There are details in the tweet. I can post it into the chat if someone hasn't already. And it should be claimable on FireStride Zone / airdrop. So go check out what you have available and go complete the tasks. Very glad to have this out there. The only outstanding airdrop after this, I think Injective is next, and that should be coming within September. So that's the airdrop. Another update about protocol owned liquidity. So as you all know, we've been Stride has been pushing for protocol owned liquidity across the Cosmos. Cosmos Hub gave it to Stride, Umi, Stargaze, Injective, Juno, Evmos, ton of chains provided protocol owned liquidity to make liquidity pools deep and integrations reliable. And there was a proposal on Juno to increase protocol owned liquidity for Juno pretty recently. It's proposal 313. I can paste it into the chat. And it has passed. Juno will be providing additional 2 million Juno to the osmosis pool. And this will help collateralize reliably on Umi and several other markets. I think there's been some concern about Juno collateralization on Umi recently, so this should help with that. And it's nice to see the Juno community supporting liquid staking and the depth of its own token in DeFi. So last but not least, liquid staking module. I see a lot of questions in the chat, but maybe I'll just give a quick refresher on what that is. This might be slightly repetitive for folks who are on the Twitter spaces, but so I'll go through it quickly. The gist of the liquid staking module, it's an upgrade to the Cosmos Hub. It's going live next Wednesday, 6 days from today on the 13th. It's a framework for liquid staking safety and regulation, and it's fully in control of Cosmos Hub governance. It adds 3 new features to the Cosmos Hub. The first feature says that only 25% of all stake can be liquid staked. Currently, the entire 100% portion of voting power in the Cosmos Hub can be staked through liquid staking providers, but we're limiting that to 25% for safety. We'll check in at that point and see how liquid staking is going, maybe raise the cap some more. The second feature that's being added to the Cosmos Hub is called Validator Bond. It requires validators to put some of their own money at risk in order to accept liquid staking delegations. More specifically, for every unit of Atom that they stake, they can accept 250 units of liquid staked Atom. So they have to put some of their own capital up at risk of slashing before accepting liquid staked Atom. And then the last and maybe most exciting feature for the users is that the user experience for liquid staking with the liquid staking module becomes much more fluid. Users who previously could not liquid stake without unbonding, i.e. users who are staking Atom today, can now stake without unbonding. So with a single transaction on Stride, they'll be able to convert their staked Atom into tokenized Atom and then liquid stake it with Stride to get ST Atom without having to wait the unbonding period. And on the 13th, next Wednesday, Stride's website will be updated as well to with a tutorial on how to do this and some hopefully an easy user experience for everyone to go ahead and try out the LSM and liquid stake some of their already staked Atom. So I'll pause there. That's a lot on the liquid staking module. It's going live on Wednesday. There will probably be a demo in the next 3 or 4 days, and we might be releasing a few videos on how to do liquid staking. And the Stride Twitter will be telegraphing when this goes live, and there'll be a lot of talk about it. I think the whole community is pretty excited. If you're a validator, there's some instructions on the Cosmos Hub forum on how to prepare for this. And if you're a user, all you have to do is log on to app.stride.zone next Wednesday to try it out. Oh, and Moons asked a very important question in the chat. So Zaki put a poll on Twitter asking, how long will it take till 25% of all staked Atom is liquid staked? The options, I think, were 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, maybe like a week. And the winning category, I was surprised by this myself. The winning category was 1 month. If you stop and think about that, what users are and folks on Twitter are predicting is that 25% of all staked Atom will be liquid staked in a month. That's $500 million. It's a lot of Atom. We'll see if we get there, but Aiden promised that he would shave his head if that happened. So we'll have to watch that closely. I think in the spaces today on Twitter, he actually extended his bet to the end of the year. So if we hit 25% by the end of the year, he'll shave his head. And I said if we hit 25% by Cosmoverse, I'll get a tattoo like Jacob Goodickian did last year.
Wow. That's hilarious. Okay, well, let me know ahead of time, I'll bring all my tattoo gear. I can give everyone a Stride ST Atom tats. Um, that's so funny. I must have missed that tweet because I had no idea there was this poll going down. I was like, why is anyone asking about Aiden shaving? How does anyone know how long Aiden's hair is right now? That was my first question. That's really funny. But yeah, that is super exciting. What is your projection, Riley? Do you have like a guess as like if you were filling out the poll?
Good question. I, I think it really depends on what DeFi looks like over the next 6 months. So there'll definitely be a lot of people trying out the LSM when it goes live on Wednesday. I think the bigger institutions might wait a day or two to make sure that everything is smooth. And then we'll probably see some big ledger transactions come through. Institutions liquid staking. There are serious benefits to liquid staking for institutions. For example, if you stake and you claim rewards, you pay income tax. If you liquid stake and you sell the asset after it's appreciated, you pay cap gains tax, which is much lower. So it makes a lot of sense for big players to do it, but I think they'll wait a little bit to make sure that it works. Now, by the end of the year, I think it'll mostly depend on whether there are things to do with your ST Atom, and that depends on the evolution of the DeFi ecosystem. But there's some really promising signs that point towards that DeFi ecosystem maturing, even more than it already has in the next few months. So I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 25% by the end of the year, but in the next month, I don't think we'll hit it.
If there's anything else that, people are thinking about as far as the LSM, now is definitely an excellent time to do that. If there was especially anything for those of you who were at the space right before this, if there was anything that you heard that you were interested in that you maybe wanted a little bit more detail on, now would also be a good time to ask. So our conclusion is that Aiden might shave his head. We don't know. We'll let you guys know. Would the flood of this much ST Atom decrease pool rewards and various protocols and be more beneficial for Stride stakers?
So if a lot of ST Atom are minted and deposited into DeFi protocols, it that would compress the yields in those protocols, most likely. So existing users of those DeFi protocols would make less, but it would be massively beneficial for Stride stakers because Stride value locked increases, so the staking rewards passed on from Atom to Stride increase by a meaningful amount. And for DeFi users, long term, it's definitely better for there to be more ST Atom because it matures the overall ecosystem. And while there might be some high rewards right now, the overall size of what you can do in DeFi and Cosmos is quite limited. So more ST Atom in DeFi, more investment in DeFi, more builders developing Mars, Umi, Agoric, and similar protocols, and more opportunities in the long term.
I'm going to bring up the question that was asked earlier by Charanjeet. He just repasted it. He asked, what are the biggest risks of the liquid staking module to Atom and to STRD at the macro level and also the micro level as far as like protocol security?
Yeah. So LSM risks to Atom. LSM is perceived as this big, scary thing, but when you step back for a minute, it actually is a regulatory framework. It does unlock more Atom to be liquid staked, but at the same time, it adds some serious safeguards and protections against risks that already exist within Cosmos. For example, we were talking about this on the informal spaces just a moment ago. The 25% cap limits the amount of stake that can be liquid staked, such that a liquid staking provider can't control more than 1/3 of the network and can't censor transactions. This is something that this is a limit that's being close to getting breached on Ethereum. I think Lido has like 32%. So if they had 1.5% more, they could potentially interfere with proof of stake over there. So has some serious safeguards. There aren't a ton of risks to Atom with LSM. At the micro level, you asked about risks there too, protocol security level. Yeah, adding a new module always has risks. Cosmos Hub will have to, it has done a lot of testing to make sure that there are no bugs. I think there were 4 teams involved in the upgrade. So Haifa, Occlusion, which is Zaki's group, the Cosmos Hub team, and the SDK team, and Stride and Persistence all worked on it. So there's been a ton of testing, and I'm pretty confident there are going to be no issues. So not a ton of risks, more of a regulatory framework in my view. Will there be circuit breakers? Yeah, the circuit breaker is 25%. So if you hit 25% liquid staked, then no more can be liquid staked until the Cosmos Hub passes a governance vote.
Okay, so in theory, Atom inflating is good for Stride as it will raise the bar as to how much Atom can be liquid staked. This is a comment that we have in the chat.
That Atom inflating is good for Stride. Will raise the bar to how much Atom can be liquid staked. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. It's the question of Atom inflation is very tricky. If you have higher inflation, there's more supply online. Some people think that's bad for the ecosystem. If you have higher inflation, the yield earned on every unit of TVL from Stride is higher. So that's good for Stride. It's also good for the hub because 15% of Stride's rewards are passed on to the hub. It will also raise the number of Atom that can be liquid staked. So it's a really complex system, and thinking through all the second order effects is a little bit difficult. So the Stride contributors don't concern themselves so much with Atom economic policy, and leave that to the Cosmos Hub contributors. And then we try to support Cosmos Hub as best possible by making their token liquid within DeFi.
I see there's some action in the chat, kind of overview. BTC has inflation through mining rewards. Okay, cool. So we're kind of thinking about just, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're talking about tokenomics for different tokens and Bitcoin versus Atom. I think there are a number of teams who are working on revamping some of the tokenomics for Atom, and they're planning to put proposals up on the forum in the next week or two. The Blockworks team, the Binary Builders team, a team from a university in Australia called RMIT. Anyway, all this talk about inflation, I'm sure it's going to be out in the open in the next month, and especially at Cosmoverse, if anyone here is attending. I think there's a big panel that will discuss this.
I want to bring up real quick Moon's comment. Moon's surprised no one has mentioned Stride's halvening the other day.
I'm not sure if Stride does a yearly halvening or if it's block by block. Do you know, Moons? Did inflation decrease by half like the other day, or has it been decreasing? Did on Monday. Yeah. So this is kind of an interesting point, that the fact that no one noticed or talked about it, to me, like for most tokens and blockchains, this would be kind of worrying. But Stride has a bit of a unique setup where the inflation on Stride um, is partially Stride, but it's partially staking rewards from the host zones. And the share that's coming from the host zones is growing, and the share that's coming from Stride is decreasing. Ideally, changes to Stride inflation should become less and less um, important and relevant in the long term. That inflation shouldn't matter as much, and the inflation earned in other tokens should go up, and it will as liquid staking module goes online and as TVL grows. It's funny. I didn't even know that the staking reward was cut in half on Monday.
Mike says, yeah, it hurts. Guys, I hate to steal the mic, But actual community updates. I wanted to let you guys know that there is going to be a Cosmoverse poster art competition that we are going to be launching next week for the community. I might have mentioned this last week, but just yeah, a little bit of context. We are going to be setting up a competition where basically our community will be given a set of branding guidelines and like artistic guidelines that you guys can use to ultimately create an art piece that is Stride Cosmoverse themed. And the winning art piece or poster, that's the type of art we're looking for. The winning poster will be given out as a free badge to people who visit us at our Cosmoverse booth. So more details to come and more details specifically about the constraints and things that we're going to need to ask you to consider when creating your art. But we hope that that feels exciting and feels like a cool way to sort of be part of creating what Stride's brand looks like on that special event for us. We have a few new Zeely quests that are live right now for some of our integrations, so Crescent and Nolus. So we want to support their communities and sort of exchange or get our users interested in each other's projects. And so please go through our Zeely to sort of explore the social platforms for those projects, Crescent and Nolus. And we have a Zeely sprint coming up with Tashi. This is a new Evmos lending market next week. So lots happening on the Zeely front, lots of different ways to explore our integrations in a kind of hands-on way if this is something that you've been curious about but aren't familiar with. And then last but not least, I just want to give a quick shout out to our Discord user Evmosian. Congratulations on being the community spotlight for the month of August. We really just generally appreciate your contributions to the conversation that is constant in our Stride servers, and we really think that you're a high quality thinker and we really value the things that you have to say. So please keep coming back to our community, and we will be sending you your community spotlight badge prize for winning this role for the month. So that's all that I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you for listening. Yes, Emosian super well deserved, and I'll make sure that that gets to them. I know that they were in here earlier, but they'll come back next week. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you guys. Anything left on your mind, Riley, before we part ways?
No, no, I think we covered a lot of it. And congrats, Eposian.
We are a little bit past time, so I'm gonna call it here. But it's been awesome. If there's anything left on your mind, feel free to leave it in the chat and we will come back to you next week. Anything you really want to talk about right now, we can bring to the general chat and keep chatting there. But yeah, it's been really awesome today. Thank you for being here and hope to see you very soon.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.